Think about your own life and the one physical asset you can never truly replace, your health. When disease or sudden injury strikes, we are confronted with our absolute vulnerability. But beyond the clinical reality lies a deeper political question. Is access to medical healing a private commodity you must earn and purchase, or is it a foundational guarantee of the social contract itself? Across centuries, civilizations have struggled to define where personal stewardship ends and collective duty begins.
The biological reality of human illness creates an immediate economic dilemma. Disease is asymmetrical, unpredictable, and indifferent to individual virtue or wealth. How a society chooses to allocate the burden of human suffering reveals its core philosophy of justice. We either view health as a private responsibility governed by market exchange, or as civic infrastructure required for human freedom to exist.
To be truly free is to govern oneself. Deep in self, powerful command over mind and body.
In classical political philosophy, the contract was formed to secure liberty and property from human violence, not to ensure individuals against natural bodily decay. John Locke defined natural rights as life, liberty, and estate. By life, he meant protection from external harm and assault. That is a negative right. It strictly prohibits others from injuring you. It does not compel your neighbor to fund your physician. Forcing one citizen to pay for another's medical treatment transforms healthcare into a compulsory claim on another person's labor, destabilizing individual liberty.
So from this traditional baseline, health remains a personal stewardship. The state's duty is to maintain public peace and enforce contracts, while medical care remains a voluntary arrangement between practitioner and patient. But as medicine evolved from basic comfort into life-saving science, the costs transformed a personal misfortune into a potential financial catastrophe.
That classical framing breaks down when you examine modern civic reality. Thinkers like Norman Daniels demonstrated that without health, negative liberty becomes an empty abstraction. You cannot exercise free speech, vote, or pursue fair equality of opportunity if a treatable illness renders you incapacitated or financially ruined. Health is not a luxury consumer good like a luxury vehicle. It is the absolute precondition for human agency and citizenship. A social contract that leaves the sick to preventable decay abdicates its moral duty.
This perspective redefines healthcare as a form of social infrastructure. Just as a nation constructs roads, courts, and defense systems to allow society to function, public health guarantees the baseline capacity of every citizen to participate in the Commonwealth.
Except that physical infrastructure is made of concrete, while medical care relies on the finite labor of specialized human beings and unlimited demand. When you declare care a universal right, you remove price signals from consumption. This creates a severe moral hazard, inflating system costs and forcing state bureaucracies to ration care. True compassion preserves individual choice and market innovation, which consistently yields better medicine than centralized control.
Market mechanics fail in healthcare because the consumer lacks bargaining power. When facing an acute emergency, there is no price elasticity or consumer choice. You pay whatever is demanded or suffer the consequences. Treating medicine purely as a market good incentivizes profit over prevention, leaving those with baseline vulnerabilities behind. The collision is fundamental. Market efficiency versus universal solidarity.
The underlying friction between these frameworks rests on how a society defines risk and obligation. Actuarial fairness demands that individuals contribute according to their personal risk profile, preserving self-ownership and personal accountability. Social solidarity demands universal risk pooling, redistributing resources from the healthy to the sick to maintain collective stability. When health is treated strictly as a private good, inequality yields rationing by price, where access depends on financial wealth. When health is treated as a public utility, scarcity yields rationing by time, where access depends on administrative queuing and triage protocols.
From the heavy Iron Age of industrial Europe to the birth of collective care in a post-war world,
We see this core tension operationalized across modern history. In late 19th century Germany, Chancellor Otto von Bismarck instituted compulsory social health insurance, not out of pure egalitarianism, but to preserve state order and industrial productivity.
Bismarck's model preserved non-governmental sickness funds and tied contributions directly to employment, keeping primary responsibility anchored in work and productivity rather than state dependency. It demonstrated that targeted social safety nets can coexist with personal accountability.
Yet post-war Britain chose a different route with the National Health Service, decommodifying medical care entirely as a right of citizenship, funded through general taxation. It removed financial fear at the point of service, proving that collective solidarity can dramatically lift baseline public health across all income levels.
To visualize these competing frameworks, consider two conceptual metaphors. The first is the fortress wall. Public health operates as essential defense infrastructure, where contagious disease or widespread decay is an invading force, and a breach anywhere threatens the entire city-state. The second is the fire insurance pool. Medical care operates as a mutual protection fund, where individuals pool capital strictly to insulate against rare, catastrophic loss without guaranteeing routine home upkeep or personal lifestyle choices. Every society must strike a balance between these models. Prioritizing the fortress maximizes collective security, but demands higher taxation and state oversight. Prioritizing the insurance pool preserves personal autonomy, but leaves individuals exposed to personal misfortune. Beneath these competing models lies a shared human concern. Both perspectives recognize that human life holds intrinsic value and that unnecessary suffering should be mitigated. The disagreement is structural, whether dignity is best preserved by empowering individual agency and market innovation, or by guaranteeing a universal baseline of collective care.
Neither framework can escape its inherent trade-off. A purely market-driven model risks converting healing into a privilege of wealth. A purely state-run model risks bureaucratizing care and stifling dynamic medical progress. The ongoing dialogue is not about discovering a flawless system, but about consciously managing an irreducible tension within human society. Think about your own perspective on the healthcare contract. When you look at medical care, do you see a specialized service earned through voluntary exchange, or a foundational right guaranteed by citizenship? How a nation answers that question dictates its tax structures, its medical breakthroughs, and the level of trust citizens place in one another. The social contract remains dynamic because our values and technology are constantly evolving. Thank you for watching the Vantage Point. Until next time, stay curious and keep reflecting on the agreements that hold our world together.